Greetings, everybody. This is Dani Filth from Cradle of Filth, and you're listening to the FANTASM Podcast.
Phantasm. Maximum terror.
That's your target audience, baby!
Phantasm.
And you know something? I sort of enjoyed it.
Phantasm.
Sell the metal! Sell the metal! Sell the metal! Sell the metal!
Phantasm.
Hey, this is Dr. Vincent West, medical doctor with the FANTASM Podcast, and today I have a very, very special guest. We've got Dani from Cradle of Filth, amazing band. We're going to be talking about their tour. They're going to be doing touring stateside with Danzig, and also doing some headlining shows. And we're also going to be talking about their latest release, which came out last year, which is fantastic. It came out Nuclear Blast Records. And of course, I am talking about Existence is Futile. Dani, how are you doing, my friend? Thank you so much for taking the time to do this today.
My pleasure. Yeah, I'm doing good, yeah. A little bit of jet lag, but I'll survive.
Well, we're so happy that you're over in the States about to do this amazing tour. I don't even know where to start here. Let's talk about this tour package. You and Danzig. How did that come about? I'm assuming you're probably a Danzig fan as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Been a Danzig fan pretty much all my life. Misfits, Sam Hain, love his other stuff other than just his self-titled releases.
Right.
Erotica and his subsequent other little movie endeavours, his comic series. Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity. Don't ask me how it came about, really, because I think our booking agent just said, hey, I know you're a Danzig fan. This has just been put forward. Are you up for it? And it's a strange little tour. I think he's soon playing like 10 dates,
right? 2
of which have an addition Tiger Army playing because he's... Danzig, that is undertaking the entirety of his second album, Lyrical. And so, subsequently, to make it us worthwhile getting over to the States, and we almost didn't, and I'll tell you more about that in a second, we've had to do some filler dates in the US and Canada, which is great because, we get to headline, and
sure.
We're also playing some places about Oklahoma City, which we haven't played for absolutely yonks. So, very much looking forward to it. We've got 3 days here rehearsing in LA. I should be there now, but I'm not. You're not taking my time away. The drummer's not even here. His PCR test, because yes, all that rigmarole still has to go on.
Sure.
Didn't come through when he was in Vienna in Austria. He was travelling with our guitarist. The guitarist got his PCR and met me in London to fly yesterday.
Right.
But the drummer is still there. He's flying this morning. We should be picking him up from LAX about 2 o'clock this afternoon. But yesterday, when I arrived, I had a bit of a problem getting into the country because years ago, we had to give a visa back because it took so long to turn it around because it was Christmas and New Year's, etc.
Right.
That we were afraid that we were going to let everybody down, and promoters and everything had to know that there's a big strong possibility that we weren't going to get these visas in time, which we didn't. So we cancelled them, but it now flags up every time I go to the States as a refusal, an entry refusal.
Oh shit!
Despite having a B2, which is a business visa.
Sure.
So yeah, I dragged off to a secondary passport control thing, and yesterday was the worst it's ever been. I was 3 hours waiting for someone to look at my passport and say, fine, carry on. At which point, obviously, our guitarist was sitting with my luggage in the airport, just going, "What the fuck is going on?"
Right.
But it was getting to the point where I was like, "Oh, I can't be bothered if I can get in or not now." I'm just so pissed off with it. And border control, they're not the most pleasant of people. They really are quite rude. When you come to a country, you expect, as ambassadors of said country, to be welcomed with smiles and nice words, maybe flowers. but no, you just get shouted at a lot and attitude. But I'm grateful that I'm in.
I'm glad you're here too. And yes, as speaking from someone that came in from Mexico back into this country, they treat us the same way as do our law enforcement. There's some scary folks out there, and I'm sorry you had to go through that. It was awful. I live in Florida, so if I go into Mexico and come, it's a fucking mess. So I can only imagine what that was like, and you having to fly that far. And then you're right, they should be more like ambassadors, and they're not. They're more like Gestapo. But yeah, I'm sorry that you had to go through that. That's awful. But we're excited as hell that you're here. It's awesome, and thank you for doing this again. This is so cool. As far as the latest album, what type of when did the writing process on that begin for you for Existence is Futile?
Well, whilst we were on the road in 2019, it was the busiest year that we ever had, I believe.
Okay.
We were touring everywhere, but we still managed to get some writing done. And once the touring finished, we were very lucky in respect that our touring finished just as COVID kind of broke. So we've done all our worlds, we've been out for 3 years in support of our previous record.
Right.
And the re-mistress version of Cruelty and the Beast as well. And we literally, like I said, we've been everywhere that year. So we actually sort of retired from that, gone with the record, and fortunately, just before the lockdowns hit in Britain, we were able to fly our drummer over from the Czech Republic, so we had the backbone of the album. Ashok, the other guitarist who lives in the Czech Republic, didn't actually make it to England until the summer, like 5 months later after we started the record.
Okay.
And we were working like 5 hours a day, 5-6 hours a day. It was very relaxed. I wish that could happen again. I don't believe that will ever happen again. And so it gave us plenty of time to sort of reevaluate and try new things and just generally chill out. So the first part of the lockdown, the first year of COVID was great for us. The second year, I just got bored as hell because it's like,
right.
I want this to go. And we were very fortunate in the fact that we managed to be one of the few bands that got over to the States last year, despite the massive COVID protocols in place. We had to get special visas to cost us an arm and a leg, literally. And we managed to, despite both support acts contracting COVID during the course of the tour, we managed to do all of that. So, it was a real labour of love, and I'm very appreciative of the fact that we had that chance during, whereas a lot of other people were just sitting at home going, what the fuck am I doing?
Right. Well, the album is fabulous. And as far as lyrically, was there a different approach for Existence is Futile than the previous records?
Well, I always favour the gothic romance. So there's a few tracks on that are quintessentially Cradle. But overall, I think it's a little different. It's a bit more modern in context, a bit more socially aware, without sounding like we've become a punk outfit. I just thought that this record it wasn't born out. People saying, oh my God, you've written about the apocalypse, it's got to be about COVID. It's like, well, I think we just have one apocalypse after the other nowadays.
Right.
Obviously, we've got the Ukrainian war going on at the present. And,
sure.
The threat of nuclear extermination is ever more, it's worse now, I think, than during the Cold War and the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Amen to that. You were right on that. So, I tell you, you and I are similar in age. Growing up with that, I think a lot of younger people don't realize how scary it is to revisit it again. I don't know how it is for you, Danny, but God, it's freaked me out. It's like...
Well, if you've ever seen the BBC TV series about Chernobyl, and that was 8 82, 81
Yes.
or whatever.
Yes.
I rewatched that recently, like prior to this war breaking out. It was like, when I say recently, it was last year, and that totally freaked me out. Because I remember it happening and not being that. I was young, so it didn't dawn on me how disruptive it would be to the planet. But there was one point where they had to act. They literally had to get some of the army in and sacrifice them, knowing full well they were, they got more pay and free bottles of vodka, etc.
Right.
But they knew that they were fucked because the radiation was going to kill them all. But if they hadn't have done that and managed to keep the explosion under, the damage under control, the leak, half of Europe would have been completely devoid of vegetation.
Oh my God.
So imagine what the exodus of people would have done to the planet.
Sure.
It would have been insane. And that's just one. They had like another 86 or something different nuclear power plants. And now we've got the biggest nuclear power plant in Ukraine. It's sort of right in the midst of the fighting.
Ugh.
So it takes one stray missile, one idiot. It's just terrifying.
I'll tell you a movie. I'm going to have to check out the documentary you just talked about. I've never seen it. I'm going to have to check that out because it'll scare the hell out of me.
It's not a documentary. It's just a 3-part TV series, and they've made it look so 70s. Early 80s, late 70s.
Okay.
It's fantastic. The BBC one. It's just called Chernobyl, but it's terrifying.
One for you to watch, if you've never seen it, was an ABC original movie from 1983 called The Day After. If you can get your hands on that, check.
Oh, no, I've seen that. And the British version.
It scared me half to death as a kid, Danny. I was so scared. Like, seeing that, I was in, like, 3rd grade. It's like, oh, dear God, this was the Sunday night movie. Like, the week before, it was like a Bond movie or Raiders of the Lost Ark. And this week, it's like, no, it's we're all dying of a nuclear winter. It's like, it's just,
Yeah, there was that. We had a British version called Threads.
Oh, okay.
And I watched it on holiday with my dad, and yeah, that's fucking terrifying.
It is very scary, and if it's scary.
Yeah.
As far as production on Existence is Futile, was anything different on this record for you?
Well, we recorded with the same people.
Okay.
Same studio. We believe we used a lot of different equipment. We're trying to strip it back and not make it so overly fiddly, and just try to bring the songs out as much as possible. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're playing, extreme black metal or heavy metal or reggae or whatever. At the heart of an album has got to be, good, catchy songs.
Right.
And that was from the off, was to bring this album kicking and screaming into people's perspective with a big sound and a kind of new improved sort of outlook on the band, new lyricism, something, like I said, a little bit more modern in context.
Right.
Without betraying our roots, without betraying things that make Cradle of Filth. And that gets trickier, I guess, for most bands, having to bring out a new record. As soon as you finish a record, you're like, cool, let's write a new one. But it's not as easy as that. And when people also ask you, like, oh, yeah, you really should do an album that sounds like this. Oh, we love Dust. You should do another. It can become very contrived. I believe Tom Araya said the same thing of Rain in Blood, that there would never be a Rain in Blood 2 because it was born of circumstance. It was born of 1,000 different things.
Right.
Where they recorded it, who recorded it, what they were playing, how old they were, what they were, what undue influences surrounded them at the time, etc., etc. And if you go, a lot of bands try and do that. They try and replicate another band's sound. I mean, God, how many Sabbath worship bands are there?
Right.
I find a lot of it very contrived, because if you read anything about the background of Sabbath and that, again, it's all about circumstance and stumbling upon ideas, not trying to recreate them.
Right. Well, this album is fabulous, and with all your records, I love to listen to them in the car. I still buy CDs. I listen to it in the car and drive around and just kind of take the whole album in. It's really, really cool. And then to talk a little bit more, just briefly, about the Existence is Futile, can you tell us a little bit about the cover art?
Yeah, it's based on Hieronymus Bosch's The Garden of Earthly Delights, which is an incredibly famous painting. And we've written about that in the past. In fact, I studied it when I was at school for my dissertation.
Okay.
And my final dissertation. And the artist, Arthur Bazinch, who has supplied the artwork for the last 3 records. So we kind of saw the last 3 records as a trilogy.
Gotcha.
And more, that will become more clear in the future. But his interpretation of the title and the lyricism was this idea of just doing a different version, a more astute, hellish, but well, I don't know if it's more hellish. The original was pretty hellish, but yeah, variation. It's taken like the hawk-headed god from the 3rd panel, which represents hell in the original picture, and combine that with demons, tortured humans, and it's all about symbolism. There's a Tower of Babel smoking in the background. We wanted to go. We specifically asked him for that colour scheme as well. Wanted very vibrant and in your face. I think he did a wonderful job of it. I love it.
Oh, it's beautiful. All of that art has been, of the past couple records, has been awesome. Yeah, but it's over the top. It's wild. I love looking at it. I was looking at it last night. It's wonderful. And as far as with so many albums now, to go back to the tour, especially on the headlining sets, is it hard to make a set list that you feel like pleases you and the band and the fans, or is that something that you just kind of just fuck it, this is it, this is what we're doing, we're gonna play it live?
Well, I'd like to say that fuck it, that's what it is. I'm sure
right.
It is considerably difficult, and more difficult with each and every album, because you've got to pay tribute to your fan favourites, past releases, have a nice smattering, because you're always in your head thinking, God, if I went to see a band, they were just playing. I saw Maiden when they played the whole Matter of Life and Death, and then they just had five songs from their whole back canon.
Right.
And I was so disappointed. Fuck, I had to sit through all that record just to hear Hallowed Be Thy Name, and then I had to leave anyway.
Right.
Because I was on the guest list, and it was this massive arena, and I had to get backstage before everybody left, so yeah, I didn't even get to see all of that. So we're very aware of that scenario, and the new record has to be played. But on this tour, we've got 3 different sets, basically. We've got a 490 going on 100 minutes set for our personal headline shows, right? Which quite, we've got a bunch in US and some in Canada.
It's amazing.
Then we've got a 50-minute set, which is the set that we do with Danzig. But there are 2 shows that Danzig's doing where he's playing Lucifuge in its entirety, and he's invited another band called... I actually can't remember what they were called now. Tiger Army, that's...
Gotcha.
So both of those sets, we're playing 40 minutes. So, yeah, it's been tricky. And our songs aren't the shortest of songs either. If we were like Bad Religion, there wouldn't be a problem. We'd be like, yeah, cool, we'll just play 70 songs, not 80. But that's not the case of us. So yeah, in answer to your questions, it gets more and more difficult as time goes on.
It's it would have to be hard, because you all have such a vast catalog too, because you figure if you put one song in, you're retiring another, and et cetera, et cetera. So I would imagine it's quite difficult to do that before a tour.
Yeah, it is. And we are playing a couple of songs that we've played for ages, and I just have this thing where I get total mind blocks. I'm like, I know everything off by heart, and then it comes to a new song, and it kind of throws my equilibrium. And I find it, even
Right.
though I read the lyrics again, I wrote the lyrics, they go through my head 24/7. I still find it really hard to remember the bloody things. I always find it real panic. And this time is no different, I'm afraid. There's 2 songs that we're doing that we haven't played for a long, long time.
Oh, well, that's exciting. I mean, it's going to be wonderful. Obviously, seeing you guys headline's awesome. Seeing you with Danzig, it's amazing as well. I wanted to ask you, we do a lot of horror stuff here at Phantasm. I've always wanted to ask you this, never got to meet you or anything, so thank you again so much for doing this interview. It means so much to me. Can you tell me a little bit about working with Doug Bradley?
Oh, well, that's fantastic. I always love talking with Doug. I'm hoping to be doing some of the horror conventions in the States next year with him, as I recently just did his podcast, Down to Hell.
Yeah.
About 6 weeks ago. It was enormous fun. I think we've worked with Doug like 5-6 times now.
Yeah,
there was
that's
one
awesome.
point where, we converted my office into a studio so he could do his vocals there. But that was kind of surreal, having Pinhead in my house.
It's great.
Yeah, without calling him in the customary fashion. But no, he's a lovely guy, and I love talking to him because he's one of those people you can just keep talking and talking and talking. And I'm sure people bored the shit out of people on the podcast because we just didn't stop. We were going for it for about 2.5 hours.
It's amazing.
And it always throws up new, more enlightening things, and I'm always finding out more stuff about him and his involvement with his movies and Clive Barker, etc., etc. So one remarkable time was we were on tour here. I think it was like 2006. Might have been a bit early. I think it was 2006. And we were in Baltimore, and I had to go to a radio station with the bass player to, just do a radio show.
Sure.
And the guy said, "Hey, did you know there's a big horror convention here today? And it's the Hellraiser reunion." I'm like, "No fucking way. No way." So we went there. Hung out with everybody. And then Doug came to the show later on. And it was just incredible. It was just, one of these strange things where fate is fortunes. Yeah.
Can you, real quick, tell me how you met him the first time and what that was like, meeting Doug?
Well, the first time was basically Midian.
Okay, right, sure. For the Nightbreed theme, yeah, right.
Yeah, so, he played the character Lalsberg, which is like the high priest of Baphomet in Nightbreed. He also, there was the connotations and attributing factors surrounding Clive Barker and his, canon of work. So our manager approached him, and he took the work. And we actually spoke about this the other day because he said that our manager said to him, "There's not a whole lot of money in it." And he said, "That's the story of my life." So I remember it was a beautiful summer's day, and we went down and we were recording at this big studio where you kind of went to live. We all had our own chalets and everything in the south of England in a place called Battle. We went down to the local pub and sat there, and he was giving us all these great anecdotes and everything. And it was just, it was marvellous. It was just one of those things where you just go, I fucking love my job.
Well, I mean, you guys being such an amazing band, and then you getting to work with him, I mean, it's just, how cool is that? I mean, it's like you said, it's like Pinhead in your house. It doesn't get much better than that, Well, like I said, thank you so much for taking the time to do this today. Guys, Cradle of Filth is touring. They're out with Danzig. They're going to be doing headlining shows. Go see them. Buy some stuff. Their latest album, Existence is Futile, is available now from Nuclear Blast Records. And Dani, thank you so much. I hope we can do this again sometime. It's amazing talking with you.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Seriously, I would love to do this again sometime. Good luck with everything.
Thank you. Hopefully we can do this again soon.
I would love to, sir. This was awesome. I love the band. This is so cool. I'm so excited to see you guys. It's amazing, and good luck with everything, and thank you for your time. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Take care, my friend.
Bye.
Good luck. Take care.
Phantasm.
And you know something? I sort of enjoyed it.
Phantasm.